Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of The Walk. My name's Gareth and today I'm in the village of Ruddington in Nottinghamshire. I'm going to explore a small section of the former Great Central main line. Now, just to the south of me is the Great Central Heritage Line, and just to the north of here, the Nottingham City tram network basically swallows up the trackbed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little look at the section in the middle and I'm going to see what remains I can find of this once great railway. Okay, so I'm clambering up onto this beautiful old Victorian footbridge. Now at this point, this is basically the end of that Great Central Heritage Line. So if I get Google Earth up, this is where I am. What I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the trackbed as best I can through past what was Ruddington Station and all the way up until it basically hits that tram network. Now I'm hoping there's quite a lot of remains in between the two. It's a beautiful day. It's cold, but it's a beautiful day. So this line going off, you see the bridge there in the distance, that's what was the Great Central main line, opened in 1899. Now that one, just off to the left there, that goes into the Heritage Line. Now what that was a branch line that was built in 1940 for basically an explosives depot and an explosives factory that was opened during the Second World War. Now if I just turn you around to the other side, there's the end of the line, as you can see. Now this double track went all the way off, up over the River Trent, into Nottingham, off to Sheffield, then off to Manchester. But we're gonna skirt around this housing estate because Ruddington Station, believe it or not, is basically in those trees. So I'm just walking around the edge of this housing estate. Now I was telling you about that little branch line that went off the Great Central main line. That was an enormous site. If you look at photos of it and if you look at maps of it, it was huge. Now, it's a country park now and an industrial estate, and also it's a site of this Great Central Heritage Line, like I mentioned. Now, there are lots of plans about joining it up with the other Great Central Heritage Line, which is down in Loughborough. Now, I think if those two join, I think there's maybe one bridge missing or a viaduct missing or something like that. Now, if those two join, it will basically be the biggest heritage line in the UK, and it would be enormous. It would be great. I mean, I'm thinking like maybe 30 miles long or something, which obviously for a heritage line is huge. Now I'm going to skirt in now into this housing estate, and that's the site of Ruddington Station. Okay, so there's your housing estate. Totally nondescript, but if you just nip over a fence there, I didn't damage that, that was someone else. Here's the platform of Ruddington Station on the Great Central main line. Now this was an island platform, as they nearly all were in that London extension. And if you look there, you can see the bridge. So obviously one running line goes through there, and there'll be another one the other side. Now, in the middle, obviously we'll have a closer look at that. That's where the entrance to the station was, just where you can see that nipper walking over the top there. That was a staircase that came down onto this platform. And if you look at old photos, and I think there's some old footage as well on YouTube, you can see what this place looked like. Absolutely amazing. Amazing. But unfortunately, you know, it's been resigned to history. So I appear to be filming this at school kicking out time, and some kids have just walked past to see me sort of clambering out of the bushes with a camera in my hand. It's a railway walk, Your Honour. Okay, so here is that entrance to the station. So there you go, that's new brickwork, that is. Look, you can see where they've obviously done it to shore it up. And here we go. I mean, those brambles are stitching me a little bit, but there you go, you can see that's the entrance, would have been the entrance to the station. Amazing. Oh, it's got my wrist caught. And there you go again, the blue brick, you know, synonymous with the Great Northern Railway, but with the Great Central Railway as well. You've got trees growing out of the brickwork there. Wow. Now this station closed in 1964, and trains carried on running through until about 1969. I can see why they would close this station earlier though, because if you look at the drone footage, all these houses are new. I mean, they're all modern buildings. And so Ruddington now is a significant place, but back in the 60s it wouldn't have been. It would have been a tiny little village. Okay, so at this point, basically, again, there's some drone footage. You can see the track bed goes off and it's basically swallowed up by those houses. They both back onto it and the gardens kind of devour the track bed a bit. And then there's a field, which you can see in that footage. Now beyond that, that's where I can really get on the track bed proper. And there are plenty of remains to be found in that section. Okay, so we've skirted around on the road to get around these fields. Now you can see in the distance there, you've got those new builds. That's Ruddington Station, basically. Now those trees, that's the track bed. But like I say, it's swallowed up by people's gardens, and then, you know, this field has taken it. But double track, main line, flew across there. Now once we get here, obviously there's been some sort of land kind of movements and stuff, but there are blue bricks. So we've got ourselves a clue as to what was here. I would suggest there was a bridge here, probably just a farm access or something like that. But like I said earlier, Great Northern or Great Central always use these blue engineering bricks, and there's plenty of them about. Now, yeah, that was definitely a bridge, wasn't it? Let's have it right. Now we've got some serious infrastructure kicking off. Now this is going to be right up Less Explored Street, because this is blatantly a culvert. It's really quite quirky looking, isn't it? So the line would have gone over the top of that. There we go, look. That's a workman's hut. Well, what's left of it. So I would suggest then, they've obviously filled this in. Is that off the top? Maybe that's one of the coping stones. Is it off the top of the bridge that was there? Because there was definitely a bridge there. Actually, I would suggest this is the track bed now. Yeah, no, I'm way off. There you go. That's where the bridge was. I'll get some old map up from sort of 1914 or something. That'll tell me if I'm right or not. There, that's the track bed, isn't it? So what else have we got kicking off here? See if there's any more. Yeah, brickwork. Plenty of brickwork going off. And this would have definitely been the bridge, wouldn't it? So there you go, filled in. But at last we've got some track bed, which we were kind of sorely missing earlier. Wow, look at those steps. It's quite quirky, isn't it? Water flowing down and then dropping, going underneath the railway and off. See, that's all private property over there. There's about 4 signs in like a square metre. I think they're serious. And there you go, look at that, you can see track bed. Amazing. Let's have a quick look here then. Yeah, this is definitely a worker's hut, isn't it? Some people have used it recently for a fire by the look of it. Amazing. There's loads of bits of infrastructure lying around as well. I've always loved this railway, the Great Central Railway, because my dad loved it, because he grew up in Leicester. So when I was a kid, like, we used to watch videos, you know, old VHSs of the Great Central. And actually, if you've watched some of my videos before, you'll see that me and my dad have done an explore of the Great Central in Leicester, where we saw some of the remains and went in the old station and stuff like that. So it's always meant a lot to me ever since I was a wee kid. So whenever I find little bits of it, I love it. Now, the Great Central Railway was opened in 1899, and it was amazing, an amazing railway. And I'm not just saying that. Basically, because it was one of the later railways, it struggled, unfortunately, in the sense that, you know, the Midland and other lines had already got the monopolies into London and stuff, so it was coming along late for that. But what it had, because it was late, is they learnt from the mistakes of the railway mania of, you know, the 1830s and 40s. And so this line was built to incredible specifications. All the bridges and tunnels were all built to European specifications, because Edward Watkin, who was the real visionary behind it, was like, you know, we're going to build a channel tunnel. in 1899, and obviously everyone laughed at him, and now look at it. The other thing they did was they built the gradients and they built the curves in such a way that it was a high speed line. They didn't have to go around sharp corners, they could seriously hammer it. Now that is a perfect example of the Great Central. Look how straight that is, it's like a Roman road. Now the Great Central, up until, you know, HS1 and HS2 and all that stuff, just nearly fell over again, was the last main line built in the United Kingdom. And it joined in a place called Annesley, which is just north of Nottingham, and it went all the way down into London. Now, north of Annesley, it connected with other railways, which took it into Sheffield and then took it off up into Manchester. So it was a main line from London to Manchester, and it was a high-speed one. But what was so sad is it closed finally completely in 1969. But a lot of the stations like Ruddington that we looked at earlier, that was gone in like 63. But what was crazy is they stopped the express services really early, like early 60s. And it's like, but that's what made the Great Central great, was the fact that it could go so fast. So they took away its strong point. And I think about it, I think it's like, if you use like a football analogy, it's like having a like 7-foot-high striker up front and then saying, we're going to stop putting balls into the box so we can header them in. It's like, that's literally why he's there. So that's sad that they did that. And obviously then, you know, it basically relied on coal. And when you find a lot of the old footage of the Great Central, they tend to be, you know, old coal trains coming from Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire and Leicestershire. Now what we're about to come into is something called Wilwell Farm Cutting. Now I'm pretty sure this is called Willwell Nature Reserve, I think. I keep seeing signs saying Nature Reserve, but it's all padlocked up. So there's no sort of car park or anything like that. So I don't know if they've just closed the nature reserve and let, you know, nature do its thing. But obviously from looking at the ground, you can see people are still, you know, coming here a fair bit. Obviously there's benches and stuff at the side. Now I'm kind of hawkeyeing, see if there's any more remains. Because we're not that far from the end now, to be fair. What have we got here? I'm assuming there's probably a drain under there, then they just pop that there to cover it up. Looks like there's some infrastructure in a second. Yeah, here we go. So, another sort of permanent way-gang hut, I reckon, at the side there. Unless that's the foundation for something. Not entirely sure. Yeah, there you go, look. It was, yeah, nature reserve, but it's all locked up, so I don't know if they've just given up on the upkeep, but I don't know. Nature doesn't really need its upkeep, does it? It sort of does it on its own. I'm pretty sure I can see a bridge in the distance, but I can also see a lot of mud. Mate, someone's kindly put these down though. Oh mate, I'll use them. But then they get you, don't they? Because there's 3 of them, and then there's not a 4th one. Oh mate, can you hear that squelching? It's not too bad there, to be fair. Stop whinging, mate, it's a first world problem. So there we go, we're getting into a cutting now. Now, when we get to the other side of this bridge, that's where the tram line is. Because actually, Nottingham City Council have built like a huge tram infrastructure, to be fair, in the city. And a lot of it incorporates the Great Central Railway now. So, from here, it would go north, obviously, and then over the River Trent. Now, if you watch that episode where me, Phil, Andy and Jake went up and down the River Trent and we looked at all the different bridges, we looked at the stanchions from the Great Central. That's the continuation of this line as it went over the river and then over the top of the Midland station, which actually now the tramway does, so it's kind of, it's stolen a fair bit of it. Right, so huge puddle, so that's fine, you can walk round it, but what someone's done is dig a gully, and that's stitched me up here now. Oh, for crying out loud. Look how close I am to that. But I've not got my waders. Now, can I get on top of it, actually? That's the question. I'll walk up and try and get on the top of it. Although, I prefer being under bridges than over them, to be honest. Because obviously when you're over them, you can't really see, you know, what's going on with them. But there might be another way to get under... Work out how to open a gate. So here we go, stomping down. Now, in no time, we've gone from, you know, peaceful tranquility in that cutting. I guess the cutting was kind of blocking out the sound a bit, but now I'm a bit higher. Pretty sure that's the A52 piling into the city. Again, blue brick. Now literally just there you can see those those green poles, that's the tram line where it kind of takes the track bed away. So this is the end of the line. Let's have a look what we can find here then. This would have just been a farmer's crossing, wouldn't it? But this is original then, from when it would have been gated off. Oh, mate, again, blue brick. Amazing. Let's have a look down there. I wonder how flooded it still is. I don't look too bad at that part. It looks kind of overgrown though, to be fair. And there, that's the tram line coming in, and it comes round and takes the track bed. And there we go, there's the River Nile. Oh, mate, incredible remain though, having this bridge here. Now, kind of want to see another view of it though. Can I get down? No, not really. Not without, oh geez, nearly stacked it. Okay, I'm not going to be an idiot. There you go, look at that. 3 arches. So is that technically a viaduct? I know it's a poor man's viaduct, but is it technically one? Never really do get a definitive, no chance there. What a beautiful evening. So that's me, just a few remains of the former Great Central Main Line in Nottinghamshire. Oh mate, it's cold, but I love nights like this, you know, when it's like, yeah, it's chilly, but the sun's out. Oh, love it. I'm gonna write a poem. Thanks for watching, see you next time.